Political parties in the modern sense were not present in Malaysia's early organized political activities, which were organized along regional and ethnic lines. Similar to interest groups and civil society organizations of today, there were often informal coalitions of interest groups and people with a primary focus on social welfare, social improvement, and religious reform among the Muslims. Malay populations. The Communist Party of Malaya, a mostly Chinese organization founded in 1930 that had served as the backbone of the anti-Japanese struggle, launched a guerrilla insurgency against the colonial administration in 1948. This action set off a 12-year period of turmoil known as the Malayan Emergency. Only a small portion of the Chinese population backed the communist bloody and ultimately unsuccessful battle. The British used military force to put down the uprising, which included a plan to compel many rural Chinese people to relocate to closely regulated new villages that were situated next to or along the sides of roadways. Despite separating the peasants from the insurgents, this tactic made the government less popular. When British High Commissioner Sir Gerard Fletcher led his team, the British finally had victory when the British aggressively started to handle political and economic issues as well as the insurrection and further separated the rebels. They eventually won success under the guidance of British High Commissioner Sir Gerard Templar. British authorities began talks with the leaders of the different ethnic groups, notably UMNO and the Malayan Chinese Association, a group founded in 1949 by affluent Chinese merchants promising independence in the national parliamentary elections conducted in 1955. A coalition led by the aristocratic moderate Tunku Abdul Rahman and including the Malayan Indian Congress completed and won all but one seat. This created a long-lasting political pattern of ruling coalition, first known as the Alliance Party and later as the National Front, which is Barisan Nasional, which brought together parties with ethnic bases that were primarily led by elites and had moderate to conservative political with leanings with UMNO as the dominant force.
Malaysia is a country that is said to be unique in ethnic diversity, such as Malay, Chinese, India, and others. Ethnic diversity has never treated the peace and harmony that is achieved because of the respect and mutual acceptance that has been formed or nurtured in the life of each individual. However, peace and harmony in Malaysia have been treated and resulting in bloodshed. Is known as a race riot, or better known as the event of 13 May 1969. The event is a tragedy that brought the problem to the zenith in Malaysia. This event happened after the announcement of the election victory at that time. On 12 May 1969, the opposition party won a victory and asked the police for permission to march for their victory in Batu, Selangor. The parade has caused traffic jams around Kuala Lumpur. At that time, the Chinese were said to tie bombs to their vehicle as a symbol of their victory. On 13 May 1969, the UMNO party held a country march in the morning. The parade at that time sparked a fight between the Malays and the Chinese. At that time, it was said that a group of Chinese men had blocked the UMNO parade by throwing glass bottles at some Malays who had come to join the parade. After the fight, the Malays began to move and attack the Chinese, armed with machetes and daggers. The event that happened at that time caused death, and the majority were Chinese. Many Malays have a negative view of the Chinese. Those who are Chinese are not good at knowing commemorating the citizenship status that has been given after independence. At the time of event on 13 May 1969, Tunku Abdurrahman had just returned from Alostar after winning a victory there. Tunku Abdurrahman has blamed the communists and members of the secret society who are said to be responsible for the incident.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatina Uzma. I would like to present about Mahathir personal dominance, 1987 until 1998. Firstly, Dr. Mahathir's leadership style and self-philosophy were carried into practice while he oversaw the nation. The Dr. Mahathir period is an example of democracy in his own design, stressing national progress, political stability, and economic success political development. He was successful in transforming Malaysia during his rule into a developed country in terms of its economy and political stability. Many academics acknowledge that his authoritarian reign contributed to his achievement. Nationalism, capitalism, Islam, populism, and authoritarianism are the five elements that Kubu take 1990 and 1995 categorized as making up Mahathirism, the political philosophy and point of view of Dr. Mahathir. First element, the nationalist sentiments come first. Dividing it into two, Malaysian nationalism always demonstrate the strong spirit of nationalism via Bangsa Malaysia, Look East policy and Buy British last, and Malaysia nationalism, Ketuanan Melayu, Ultra Malay and Malay dilemma. The nationalist ideal of creating the Malay nation, with its primary objective being the advancement and preservation of what defined the Malay people, religion Islam, language and royalty, was a type of nationalism that focused primarily on the Malay anti-colonial struggle that was motivated by the nationalist ideal of creating the Malay nation. Secondly, there is capitalism. Mahathir's view on capitalism were primarily concerned with important economic concern. He addressed heavy industrialization, the recession and inefficiencies in the public sector in the 1980s. He dealt with the 1990 recession as well as the irrationality of the financial market. His Malaysia Incorporated policy may be described as pragmatic dirigism influenced by the East Asian model of growth. He wanted to maintain Malaysia pro-business position to boost local investment, draw in foreign money, and increase trade. Thirdly, under the leadership of Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who replaced Tun Hussein On as Prime Minister, there were a number of significant adjustments made on the character of authoritarian populism starting in 1981. Mahathir presented himself as a nationalist, patriot, and advocate of the people. He regretted that the Bersih 4 and Bersih 5 release did not soon force the resignation of Najib and UMNO BN, as they had done with other corrupt government that had been overthrown by sizable demonstration. In his fictional world, the 1946 anti-Malaysia Union movement was the most significant popular rebellion against illegitimate tyranny.
Hi, my name is Putri Syakila binti Bahardin, and I will talk about the PD under Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi. Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, known as Patla, was very liked by the former president of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, that nicknamed Groby. So, firstly, I will talk about the GLaNOS. In English, GLaNOS refers to openness, which was the policy of General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev. So, in this concept, the new open policy in the Soviet Union is that people express their opinion and speak freely. So secondly, it is about the perestroika. It means structuring, which was the Gorbachev program that aims at the reorganizing the Soviet economy. It is in recovery effort. In these concepts, Gorbachev has made the isolation of economic control. Next, I will talk about the initiative Tun Abdullah Ahmad Badawi. So human capital development has become the essence and mainstay of his leadership. In these concepts, the aspects of human capital development is the main focus of the world to create a society with a high moral value. On 23 April 2004, Patla has launched the National Integrity Plans, and the plan resulted due to a long-term commitment that exists from the aspiration of people and leaders based on their vision of 2020. In this concept, the objective of its implementation is based on the formation of a society with strong moral, high ethic, and inter-religious values. Secondly, Patla introduced Islam Hadari in his 55 UMNO General Assembly in September 2004. Islam Hadari means ideas, thought, and implementation. In these concepts, this implementation aims to increase civilization and true Islam belief and focus on the mastery of knowledge. So next, Patla is indeed a figure, is highly respected and emulated by the people and external leader. The talent possessed by him greatly influenced the people to be emulated in shaping society and dynamic development. The slogan "Excellence and Glorious" until now is still heard and remembered by the Malaysian, which further fostered the spirit of nationalism. In order to realize his vision, he has implemented the various initiatives to ensure that society in Malaysia can compete with other development countries. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Aisharisa binti Diwan. I am from 1104C. So today I would like to talk about political development under Najib Razak. So there's a few things that you have to know, which is our country, Malaysia, is a democracy and political country. So every 5 years, our country will change the prime minister based on the democracy that has been held, because as it change, all the things that happen in development also will be changed. As for Datuk Najib here, he introduced 3 things, which is a new economic model, or known as NEM. Other than that, is government transformation program, which is GTP. Lastly is the National Blue Ocean strategy, is known as NBOS. So all of this has been introduced by Datuk Najib to the development and our government while he be a prime minister. So as you know, it was an economic plan in Malaysia that unveiled on 30 March 2010 by our prime minister, which is Najib Razak at that time. So a new economic model is to change the focus on growth, that the capital accumulation and the investment production towards the growth based on the productivity, innovation, and more. So other than that, he also introduced about transformation government program, which is that is one of the component of the national transformation plan, which is drive Malaysia towards the 2020 goals. So what is the impact that the country or our country will get is he unveiled the National Blue Ocean strategy to the country to reduce the cost and to maximizing to output in the public sector, and the government through the project. For this project, the government will focus on implementing the low cost, what is the high impact also involved between this civil servant. So this is 3 things that very important that you have to know, because these are the 3 things that Najib Razak create for our country, and then it has been introduced by Najib Razak while he be in a prime minister. Thank you so much.